lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! I don't know if you remember The Wizard of Oz, but that was the little phrase that Dorothy, the Tin Man, and the lion, as they were looping in arms, said to themselves as they went down the yellow brick road. And I thought about that phrase the other day when I was talking about when we get really into stress mode, right? Whether you're anxious about today, tomorrow, 10 years down the road, whether everything is just becoming overwhelming, there's phrases that go through our heads. In the past, my phrase used to be, this is never going to work out for me. Why am I so stupid? Why can't I figure this out? Why does this look so easy for everyone else, but not for me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the equivalent of my lions and tigers and bears, oh my, except it was the phrase that actually made the whole thing worse. In The Wizard of Oz, that gave them hope. That gave them courage, particularly for the lion. And so they were able to go down that yellow brick road to try to figure out, I can't even remember what they were figuring out, but whatever it was scary for them. So let me offer you this instead. The kind of phrases, what you tell your brain is what your brain then sees in the world. So if you say to yourself, this is never going to work and I'm never going to succeed, well, guess what your brain is going to see? All the reasons why everything is going to say completely screwed up for you. Try this instead. You don't have to necessarily say that you're going to have all the answers and that everything is going to work out perfect. You can't predict that, right? And we try to predict that as humans, but we completely suck at it. So try this instead. 2 phrases I like to use, which is my equivalent of lions and tigers and bears. The first one is inward facing, which is I'll figure it out, or I'll be able to handle it. Whatever comes my way, I'll figure it out. That gives me hope because it brings control back to me. And I'll be like, okay, so if I say to my brain, hey brain, no matter what happens, we'll figure this out. My brain's like, on it. And so when something happens, I'll figure it out. Right? Yesterday, so today's Monday on time of recording. Yesterday, a gigantic 2 foot by 2 foot square chunk of ice about 1 inch thick came flying off a car on the opposite side of a 6-lane highway and smashed into my windshield, shattering the whole thing. I was lucky it didn't come through. I couldn't see anything, but I was on a 6-lane highway going 130 kilometers an hour. And so I had to somehow keep my shit together and pull off the road to safety. If I had told my brain, you can't handle anything, you're not emotionally stable, right? All these kind of phrases, in that instance, that's exactly how my brain would have reacted. But because I've been training myself to say, whatever happens, I'll handle it, in that moment, I safely got off the highway and no one was hurt except my car, right? But that's it. So that's my first phrase. My second phrase has to do with things that happen around me. So in the past, I would be like trying to predict like, okay, well, if I do this, then that person's going to say that. So I'll come back with this. And I created this whole drama in my head, 99% of the time of which never, ever, ever came true, but made me really anxious in the moment. So instead of trying to predict my future, instead of trying to anticipate or live in a what if world spiraling out of control, I say to myself, let's just see how this goes. Let's just see how this goes. And when you take a let's see how this goes attitude towards thing paired up with I'll figure it out, all of the stress and pain and agony that we put on ourselves starts to go away. We stop anticipating, embracing for impact of the negative things that we think are going to happen to us in our future. Again, most of which never actually transpire. So what's your lions and tigers and bears? Are you making it worse for yourself? Or are you actually making it so that you have more courage, so that you have greater mental capacity to be able to handle things, emotional capacity to handle things, so that no matter what life throws at you, you're never actually taken down? Sure, bad things happen. Getting smashed on the highway was not my idea of a good time. But you know what? I handled it because I've been training myself for a long time on teaching my brain to see that it doesn't have to get overwhelmed in some of these really scary situations. I mean, I was really glad my husband was in the car because he was another calming voice also speaking to me. So glad he's been working on it too, because him freaking out would definitely not have helped me. But when you surround yourself with people who all believe that they'll be able to handle it, all of your relationships become a lot more calm. And quite a lot more fulfilling. So if you can teach yourself this, don't forget to teach others as well that their lions and tigers and bears can be, instead of I'm going to freak out and nothing's going to work out for me, flip it into I can handle it and let's just see how this goes. And life becomes a hell of a lot more enjoyable. So, lions and tigers and bears yourself today. Find the courage in every situation. And trust me, you guys will enjoy every single day a hell of a lot more. Talk to you soon.